again welcome students of music department to perform Bihar Geet.
शत वंदन बिहार मेरे भारत के कंजहार को शत शत वंदन बिहार गोपाल वेद के रामायण तो वैशाली का लोक गोपाल वेद के रामायण तो वैशाली का लोक तू बोधिसत्व की करुणा है तू महावीर का शांति भक्त तू नालंदा का ज्ञान दीप तू ही सत्य चंदन तू है अशोक की धर्म ध्वजा तू गुरु गोविंद की वाणी है तू आर्यभट्ट तू शेषा तू कुंवर सिंह बलिदानी है तू बापू है कर्म भूमि धरती का नंदन वन तेरी गौरव गाथा अपूर्व तू विश्व शांति का अग्रदूत लगेगा खोया स्वाभिमान अब जाग चुके तेरे सपूत अब तू माथेगा विजय तिलक तू आंखों का अंजन बिहार तुझको शत शत वंदन बिहार तेरे भारत के
Thank you all. Now PG students Jaya, Akansha, Archana, Hiran and Safkat are ready for welcome song on behalf of University Department of Botany. to have our traditional and auspicious lamplighting ceremony. And I request Neha Jha and others to assist the dignitaries with the candles to light the lamp. Now it is the time for felicitation ceremony. Now we request our head, Professor Sana Jamil Ma'am, to facilitate Honorable Vice Chancellor of our university and eminent Professor of Economics and Chief Patron of the conference, Professor S.P. Singh Sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now we would like to honor our Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor and Co-Chief Patron of the conference, Professor Dolly Sinha ma'am, at the hands of Dr. Anand Mohan Mishra sir. Thank you, sir. Now we would like to welcome our Honorable former VC, V. Kumar Singh University and Chief Guest of the conference, Professor N.K. Sasser, at the hands of Professor Sana Zabulda. Now we would like to greet our keynote speaker and head Department of Botany, BHU, Professor R.K. Asthana sir, at the hands of Professor Sana Zamil ma'am. Now we would like to welcome our Honorable Dean Faculty of Science, Professor Prem Mohan Mishra sir, at the hands of Dr. Gajendra Prasad sir. Now we would like to greet our Honorable Registrar and Patron of the conference, Professor Mustaq Ahmed sir, at the hands of Dr. Khwaja Salahuddin sir.
to welcome Head University Department of Botany, Professor Sanna Zamir ma'am, at the hands of Dr. Ankit Kumar Singh sir. Thank you, sir.
Now time is for release of souvenir. For this, I request Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir and all dignitaries on the dais to release the souvenir of this conference. Thank you. Now time is for welcome address. For this, I request the Head University Department of Botany, Professor Salana Jamil ma'am, for welcoming the dignitaries and further introducing the theme of the conference.
We present this morning all of you. Our founding chief patron of the conference and chief vice chancellor Professor S.P. Singh and co-chief patron Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Professor Dolly Sinha, patron and star of LN University Professor Tushar Thomas, former vice chancellor VKS Professor N.P. Saran, our keynote speaker and head department of botany PhD Professor R.K.S. Khanna, respected Dean, Faculty of Science, Professor Ken Mohan Mishra, esteemed heads of various departments, colleagues of my department, distinguished guests, research scholars, students, representatives of print and electronic media, and all those present here in the Jubilee Hall. I extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you for graciously accepting our invitation and taking the time out of your busy schedules to attend this international conference. I feel truly honored to have all of you here with us. Today we gathered here to delve into comprehensive aspects of the topic recent trends and future prospects of food and health security. The achievement of sustainable development goals relies heavily on zero hunger, improved health, and overall well-being. It is imperative that we strive to ensure food security for every household and individual. While India has made significant progress in achieving self-sufficiency in food-based production since independence and establishing a public distribution system, we still face high rates of malnutrition and starvation. One of the major challenges we face today is not only the lack of improvement in agriculture productivity, but also ensuring the food grains are accessible to the poor and the needy. The government needs to give a special attention to the agriculture sector in order to provide quality food and make the food security key a success. These include increasing irrigation facilities, providing affordable agricultural goods such as uninterrupted electricity supplies, high yielding seeds, and improving per capita availability of food grains. Additionally, fair prices of agricultural commodities and efficient monitoring system, optimal food storage, warehouse, and effective public distribution system are crucial elements in this endeavor. Food safety trends are significantly influenced by consumer demands, environmental impacts, and economic status of nation. There are four main factors that affect food safety terms: consumer preference, sustainability, health, and social influence. The trends are to be influenced by external factors, especially consumer demands. The food industry is a service-oriented business that continuously find ways to sustain the needs and want to consumer high protected them from potential harm. Sustainability. In addition to consumer demand, the food industry responds to environmental responsibility by protecting natural resources. More recently, trends are greatly phenomena such as climate change, health with information on food, and safety becoming more accessible consumers and also becoming more conscious of their lifestyle choice. Health conscious also encourages more retail background such as vegan diet. So the age of technology, information trends very fast, and the activity of social personalities reaches customers within a few clicks. Food business often do this. Once again, once again, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for joining us today. A special thanks must be given to our keynote speaker, Professor R.K. Asthana, Head of the Department of Botany, PhD, and some of the retired teachers of botany from LNMU who are present here. I am confident that this conference will shed light on these pressing issues related to food and healthy security and pave the way for the brighter and more sustainable future. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am, for welcome lecture. Now I request Dean Faculty of Science, Dalit Narayan Mitra University, Professor Prem Mohan Mishra, sir, to address the audience.
Mr. Chairman, sir, as I can see, the collection of 100 persons on the desk and off the desk. So I would like to not mention name of any person because who got should I can see here Vice Chancellor, Deans, Heads, and many other persons. It gives me immense pleasure to extend warm welcome to you all. First of all, I want to pay gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor S.P. Singh sir, for giving us permission to organize such an international conference and also for spending time from his busy schedule to preside over this annual function. I acknowledge and welcome all the dignitaries on the occasion of international conference on very important topic, that is recent trends and future prospects in food and health security. All the chief guests, the resource persons, keynote speaker, and last but not least, the stakeholder of this conference, that is the participants, and also media persons. I welcome you all on behalf of Faculty of Science, LN Midlands. Sir, as we know, food insecurity prevails in the world from time immemorial. History shows that peoples are migrating from place to place only in search of food and safety. But the term food security was coined in 1974 in Food and Agricultural Organizations Conference, and it was defined in 1996 in Rome Declaration that food security means all the people of the world must have access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food for his daily or her daily needs and give him or her active and healthy life. If you think of today, even we are boasting that we are in advanced stage, science has developed a lot, but what is the situation in the ground in terms of food and health security? Still, 3.1 billion people are hungry or malnourished in the world. Even our country, India, 195 million people are malnourished. 43% of children are malnourished. In the list of World Food Security Index, we are at number 68. So we must think of that. I congratulate my fellow colleague, Shahnaz Jamil and her entire team for conceptualizing such a concurrent and relevant topic and organized such an international conference. Our Indian Constitution in Article 21 quotes that every people of India has a right to live life with human dignity. With human dignity, we can think it is said that how can we expect dignified life from a hungry people, from a malnourished people? And not only food security, due to food insecurity, don't have healthy life. Most of the disease come from malnourishment due to food poisoning, and it costs nearly 3.5 billion US dollars per year on treatment of such diseases. Without food security, we cannot claim health security. In my opinion, it requires repurposing of food and agricultural policies, not only in India, in global level. If we want to make world food and health secure. Just my fellow colleague stated about SDG. Sir, we all know we have only 7 years for achieving SDG 203. And what is the condition? Without achieving food and health security, can we think of achieving SDG in 2030? The first mandate number 2, eradication of poverty and all types of malnutrition is a mandate for achieving SDG 2. And we are lacking behind. What is SDG 3? It states all people should have healthy life all along. Without food health security, we cannot achieve SDG 3. And without food and health security, we cannot claim for sustained economic growth, and we cannot achieve SDG 8 also. And without food and health security, we cannot have production and consumption patterns sustainable, and we cannot achieve SDG 12 also. So this time to think all of us, and I hope this international conference will provide a platform to all the people, the learned people, the participants, to think of it, that how we can achieve this food and health security. In my opinion, it can be achieved only if there is good governance, if there is corruption-free administration, and if there honest political leadership. Unless he cannot achieve it. Although Indian government is trying, we have Food Security Act 2013, and government has many plans to distribute food through midday meal, through Swan Jayanti Rozgar Yojana, through Annapurna Yojana, and many more. But that is supplying only food, carbohydrate, and proteins. We need nutritious food, non-hazardous food. So I hope and I am sure that today's conference will certainly talk on emerging problems for securing food and health security, and also available resources and solutions on the problem. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now I urge the keynote speaker of this conference and present head of the Department of Botany, BHU, Professor R.K. Asthana, sir, for his keynote address. Professor Asthana is an INSA JSPS Fellow in Japan, INSA COSAC Fellow in South Korea, Commonwealth Staff Fellow in UK. He has produced 20 PhDs so far and recently received Professor C.N.R. Rao Award for Excellence in Research. He has more than 70 research papers to his credit and has filed 3 patents. He has earlier been the coordinator of Industrial Microbiology and Deputy Program Coordinator of Center of Advanced Studies in Botany. He has area of specialization in phycology, stress biology, and drug discovery. Sir,
Thank you, Becca. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. सबसे पहले तो मैं इस पावन नगरी को प्रणाम करना चाहूंगा, जहां आके मैं धन्य हुआ, और इसके लिए मैं विभाग की अध्यक्षा प्रोफेसर शहनाज जमील, मेरे विद्यार्थी रहे डॉक्टर अंकित कुमार सिंह, ऑर्गेनाइजिंग कमेटी के सभी मेंबर्स, ऑनरेबल वाइस चांसलर, प्रो वाइस चांसलर, रजिस्ट्रार साहब, डी साहब, सबका आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। इसके पहले कि मैं कीनोट एड्रेस दूं, I very humbly say that the tall people sitting in the dais, Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor S.P. Singh, who is known as a dynamic leadership, the Pro Vice Chancellor, basically a physicist, Professor Dali Sinha, our Science Faculty Dean, Professor Mishra, you have heard, he has analyzed the role of corruption, but I will look at in the form of biologist role, botanist role, how we can go ahead. Honorable Registrar, Professor Mustaq Ahmed, and Professor N.K. Shah, former Vice Chancellor, known person of the order, and at the same time, beloved head of department, Professor Jamil, and many senior Professor Mishra and others, other faculty, dean and heads, dear colleagues, I am thankful to the Darbhanga that they have allowed me to come as a keynote speaker. So my way of going ahead in short period given 25 minutes is that the topic allotted is very well said by Professor Mishra, but my way of going in a scientific way, and I used to say everyone to go ahead, how to solve it, current trends and future prospects of microalgae, and underutilized crops in food and health security. Next please. आप करते हैं
One is the climatic shift. Climatic shift means unusual rain, unusual floods, unusual drought you are seeing. And at the same time, conflict. Conflict means there is a conflict, war, as in Ukraine. Number third, recession in economy. You might have heard in G20 meeting, America is going to recession. The fourth is increase in the cost of fertilizer, roaring prices of the fertilizer. So more than 345 million people are facing high level of food insecurity all over the world. And the global community must act now to end the hunger crisis as decided by 2030. Rise in population and dwindling in the land holding, that is another way. Let us think, if the land holdings are decreased, then what are the options to come as a biologist? Next please. Now before, those who are not aware, for them it is general science to understand the components of the food security. It means it should be accessible to all. Means the poor people should have the accessibility and stable supply. The availability has to be decided and utilization has to be ascertained. So these four things are there. If the accessibility means, stability means there is a persistent flow of the nutritious system, nutritious material to everyone all over the world. Next please. Now, how to cope up with the global food crisis? Now, if you analyze from a scientific way, I have analyzed it, and this is my own perception which I have drawn it. Sustainable agriculture. Sustainable agriculture means we are pouring fertilizers, we are going away of organic manure we were doing. Now, what happens? The fertility maxima has been achieved. Now, realization of the full potential of underutilized crop, especially millet. You see, I will come later on. Full potential. When I was going around up 10 year and in high school in Azamgarh district, I used to see my mother had sown urad, sawa, as well as that of jowar together, and it was just prepared. That crop was ready within 2 to 3 months. We have taken all those rice, kheer, sawa kheer. Now nobody is knowing. So that is the potential because it's a drought condition. मैं मिलेट से हूँ, गर्मी में बोई जाती है, लेकिन आज नहीं है. Exploration of the realization of potential of non-traditional sources means because the land holdings are dwindling. So now the microalgal biologists, phytologists like us, they are thinking how to exploit the non-traditional sources for the nutritional security. The third is renewable energy. I am telling you, climatic shift that is occurring. It is because of the increase in the greenhouse gases, and in that condition you need renewable energy. There is a exhaustion of the fossil fuel. You have not to be in 2050 all over the world, how we will be able to feed them in the form of security and health. Next, please. Now, non-traditional crop. Before I am coming to the underutilized crop, I want to tell non-traditional sources. Microalgae may be a sustainable source of nutrient and health security. Now, I am working in this direction. Heterogeneous group, primarily unicellular, aquatic photosynthetic eukaryote, is stress adaptive. You know, 2.8 billion years ago, oxygen was originated on the earth. When oxygenation is occurred, then two great events of the oxygen event has occurred. Great oxidation event 1, great oxidation event 2. Then we got 21% of the oxygen. And that oxygen level again dwindling. Because and at that time, because these are still existing, it means they have their genetic makeup in such a way that they can adopt all the harsh environment. Why I am telling, for the layman who can understand that why I am telling, it means they are able to withstand all the stresses and they are having certain specific that has been utilized for our crop. Now, high photosynthetic efficiency. The shorter generation time, the shorter generation time means they can multiply within days, minutes, and for that reason, they can produce a larger biomass in a smaller area. And now, third is low greenhouse gas effect. If we are producing the biodiesel, the effort we are doing in our beverage, it is 25% carbon only, about 75% in petrol, about 80 to 90% in the coal. That can be reduced. If you are not coming to the hydrogen, at least if you are going down for 25%, you can maintain the greenhouse gas level according to the formula vision adjustment. So what I need to say, if we are looking at certain organisms, this is tiny unicellular, this is Cyanobacteria semiacosistis, and Denaliella, red color you are seeing, it is carotenoid, and it was collected by me personally from Sambar Lake. This is Nanochloropsis and Tetracellular, they are green algae. आप हिंदी में काई कह सकते हैं, जो सब लोग नहीं पहचान सकते, माइक्रो एल्गी वाले पहचान लेंगे. Next please. You see, you are collecting white is also in back side. I have cut the space. You see, this is the Sambar lake. Sambar lake, you are seeing it is so long lake, and you are seeing the red color. It is nothing but the carotenoid. Hematochrome coming out of the Denaliella are black salt खाते हैं, and that is required for your health. That is that Denaliella no cell wall. If there is no cell wall growing in 30% of the salt and Arthrospira, that is Cyanobacterium growing at 30% of the salt, what does it mean? That there is something which does not permit the cell wall, cell membrane entry of the sodium. कहने का मतलब कुछ जीन ऐसा है अगर क्रॉप में डाला जाए तो सस्टेनेबिलिटी के लिए वो एरिया में काम करेगा. मैं वो कहना चाहता हूँ. Now next point is you see biomass, if they are produced at the large scale, and then it can cater the need of fishes as well as that of human. That is another important point I want to convey. Next please. You see, when we have analyzed, Ankit is sitting here. First time in 2017, he was able to show bioactive compounds from Denaliella. Bioactive compounds, anti-cancerous, anti-fungal, already published in various journals of the high price factor. And now, later on, what we saw that it is having 10% of the beta carotene. आपको बता दें कि जो टमाटर है वो 3% से 4% लाइकोपीन में लाल रहता है. अगर 10% आपके शरीर में गया तो 80% रोग तो वैसे ही साफ हो जाएगा. मेरे कहने का मतलब ये है कि now health and food security both are coming together to understand with amalgamation of the science. That is what we are working, because the essential amino acid index means the quality of the protein. You see, in egg is 1.65, while in soybean it is 1.34, and in Denaliella it is 1.5. What a beautiful level of the protein is there. Another important point is that polyunsaturated fatty acid, that is omega, that is present माँ के पेट में केवल पपा पाते हैं, क्योंकि इसके बाद ये बनना बंद हो जाता है। फॉर योर काइंड इंफॉर्मेशन, 40% of the heart, 25% of the gray matter of the brain is constituted by the papa, polyunsaturated fatty। इसीलिए माँ दुर्गा है, माँ लक्ष्मी है, क्योंकि माँ के प्रेगनेंसी के दौरान ही हम सभी उस ब्रेन का नरिशमेंट पाते हैं। लेटर ऑन इट गोज अवे, एंड फॉर दैट रीजन यू आर, माएँ जो हैं दे आर गिवन सी शेप, जो कटोरा जो दिया जाता है, only the source is the that very easy। So what I want to tell, no cereal, no rice, no wheat done for it, and therefore it is required to harvest it, and Daniela and this Cyanobacteria arthrospira is a source of papa. All you are aware that the heart diseases are common. You are aware that the boy, when he is going to develop as a girl, after 5 years, the brain used to just palpitate, and that's the formative stage, and that is because of the mother's milk breastfed boys and girls are going to be supplemented. Now next please. Now in our Lagati, the constant of doing it, the constant of getting this biomass to that economic scale, we designed a very small scale bioreactor in the laboratory, you see, flat bed. It is designed by our students, but it has not successfully worked because there was a site of segmentation. So next please. Again we designed vertical type 46 later, and now successfully it was published in Bioresource Technology, having impact factor 11, and at the same time we are able to produce at large scale. That is the constant in growing it at large scale. At the same time, at present 230 liter has been designed by us. Next please. Now this Denaliella, again we have, Ankit was the person to come forward with Prabhakar. In marine pollution bulletin impact factor 7, you see, ester cell has ability to accumulate selenium. You see, selenium is very much required for you. Otherwise, patient diseases and other diseases are going to happen in you. Neurodegeneration again. It means every nutritional security will not be accomplished or fulfilled until selenium is going to be given. And for your kind information, selenium is accumulated in Denaliella, and we require every day 55 new G per day selenium. You see, in these days we are doing the tablet. So at the same time, the cereals and these millets, and these are going to be supplemented. They will help. Recently we have published. Next page. Now at the same time, idea is that why not to produce more than 10% of the carotenoid to be transferred in rice, as golden rice is already there, but we want to transfer these genes. For this, transcriptomics has been done in our laboratory. Metabolomics and metabolic engineering is going to be done, and about 59,000 genes we could identify. It's just responsive we are intending to transfer it in the case of rice. Next page. And at the same time, you see, increase the beta carotene with these two red signs, that phytosynthetase and beta carotene, we are able to going to transfer it. Now next page. Next thing, recently we sent one patent from Denaliella. You see the red color beta carotene. This amount about, you see, about 10,000 rupees. 10,000 rupees of this much of the carotene. This much of the beta carotene, 10,000. Next please. This one, very simple one, even in your post-graduation class, you can display by him that you see this aqueous extract of Denaliella, that. Next page. This is the arthrospira. Next page. It is high time to focus on neglected underutilized craft for food and nutrition security using next gen genomics tool. Next page. You see, neglected underutilized craft, that was the non-traditional craft. It was the traditional one which was ignored. You see here, underutilized and neglected. Next page. like crops, you have to identify tubers, legumes, vegetables, and minor millet. Next, already available, but they are not harnessed. Full of calcium, fiber. They can reduce your cholesterol level. They can help in diabetes. You see that already or again next week India. Next, तुरंत इसे कहते हैं and likewise. Next week, legumes. These legumes are very important and we are not harnessing properly. Generally, wheat bean, groundnut, and all those which are available in the market, but we are not going to involve in our food in comparison to the pulses. Next, please. Here, smaller minor millet, coarse millet, already we used to grow long back. Those who are not less than 60, they know that their childhood, they have all fought millet, proso millet, jitna bhi kodo, and sawa. Next page. You see, Bharat ke millets of India, bajra, jwar, ragi, sawa, kutki, pima, kodo, kagani. Kyun? Next page. Millets, it was cultivated in 2600 BC, but after the post-Green Revolution, after 16, it has got brittle. So the proposal of an international year of millet 2023 was put forth by the government of India and endorsed by the members of FAO governing body. So now millets are going to be prime. Next page. इसको जरा सा चला लीजिए. This is from the international year of millet. This you see. In broad it is going to grow. This was taken from the FPO program. Where now, the precise thing is that they are gluten free. In diabetes, it has been said that because the wheat, somebody is getting allergic and going to be patient of the diabetes, it is gluten free. They are rich from calcium, iron, phosphorus. Their glycemic index is low, and at the same time, it is full of the minerals, calcium, magnesium, and all those. Next point, please. And in this way, India's millet map, if you see that UP and Bihar is comparatively lacking in comparison to the south. So there is a need to Darbhanga to take lead in this area. In LG, which I can fortify with the help from my side, and in the millets also. And this university can grow like anything what you can think of. Next page. This international year of millets of 2023 is the goal of our Prime Minister, and therefore, next page. Next page. This is the last slide to show. He is my friend Manoj Prasad. I asked him, said that I am going to Darbhanga. If the Darbhanga people are interested, university is interested, you help in millet, I will help in algae. And he agreed. And he is my friend. He said that transcriptomics, metabolomics, proteomics, he just isolated his, you see, one gene which is going to be hardy. It can allow the rice to grow at 45 degrees. As you see that the starch responsibility from algae can allow the rice to grow in rice infested area. And therefore, next thing, so conclusion Navela. After some time, you see that we will be marketing and going to do it. Selenium in this Navela having more than 1.5 AI is used as a supplement of compensating 55 GB requirement per day. Next, please. This is the small group, and the Prankit is placed here, and many more are there. And these are involved in all those work what I have presented. It is because of them only that I am able to speak as a keynote speaker. Next, please. And current research area are here. Systems biology and metabolic engineering of microalgae and biofuel as well as antimicrobial anti-cancer biomolecules. Thank you very much to everyone sitting here, and thank you very much for having me. And I will be happy to help Darbhanga at any time. Like you sir will say, no problem for me. My work is to disseminate the knowledge in the nation, whatever the area is. And as a head department of botany, I will still do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your elaborate keynote address. Now I request to the patron of the conference and present registrar of Allied Vista University, Professor Mustaq Ahmad, sir, for his address.
लक्ष्मण क्लास पहले वनस्पति शास्त्र विभाग के द्वारा आयोजित राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन के उद्घाटन बेहतर विद्यालय के सम्मानित कुलपति प्रोफेसर सीता और कुलपति महोदया प्रोफेसर सिन्हा साहिबा और आज के मेहमान खास मुखर्री प्रोफेसर अस्थाना साहब, कुलपति आरा विश्वविद्यालय प्रोफेसर साहब, हमारे विश्वविद्यालय के डीन प्रोफेसर के मिश्रा, विभाग अध्यक्ष प्रोफेसर सैनाथ जमीन साहिबा, सभागार में उपस्थित विश्वविद्यालय के स्थापित नामचीन शिक्षक अभिभावक प्रोफेसर जयप्रकाश साहब, विभिन्न विभागों के विभाग अध्यक्ष, संकाय अध्यक्ष, सबसे पहले तो विश्वविद्यालय की ओर से सचिव होने की हैसियत से जितने भी आज संस्थाना के साथ से विश्वविद्यालयों से यहाँ मेहमान आए हैं और जो ऑनलाइन जुड़े हुए हैं उन सबों का विश्वविद्यालय परिवार को स्वागत और विश्वविद्यालय के वनस्पति शास्त्र विभाग के विभाग अध्यक्ष जिनको प्रत्याभार कि उन्होंने बहुत ही समसामयिक विषयों पर, जैसा कि प्रोफेसर अस्थाना साहब ने अभी अपनी तीनों स्पीच में आपका ध्यान आकृष्ट किया, प्रोफेसर मोहन मिश्रा ने बातें कही। देखिए, मैं बिल्कुल विशुद्ध रूप से भाषा का छात्र हूँ, विज्ञान से कभी भी दूर का कोई वास्ता मेरा नहीं रहा। साहित्य के माध्यम से सभी विषयों को जानने की कोशिश की, लेकिन जब मैं रास्ते में आ रहा था तो मैंने कहा कि मुझे तो कुल सचिव के तौर पे मुझे बुलाया गया है, मुझे तो विषय के तौर पे बुलाया नहीं गया। लेकिन जब यहाँ आया सुना तो मुझे लगा कि मुझे भी इस पर जो कुछ अधूरी जानकारी है वो आपसे शेयर करूँ। प्रोफेसर अस्थाना साहब, दिल्ली में जब आप दिल्ली स्टेशन से उतरते हैं तो सामने जाकिर हुसैन कॉलेज, जिसका नाम दिल्ली कॉलेज हुआ करता था, लेकिन 1629 में इसका नाम मदरसा गाजीउद्दीन था। और आपको जानकर हैरत होगी कि दुनिया का पहला, शायद बॉटनी में आप लोग पढ़ाते होंगे, अरबी ग्रीक में उसका नाम थियोफरास्टिस था, जो थियोफरास्टिस के नाम से आप उसको अंग्रेजी में पढ़ते हैं। इसकी किताब थी, उसको अरबी में उस मदरसा ने तर्जुमा किया था मदरसा गाजीउद्दीन, और उसका नाम रखा सुराग इल्मुल तफरियात, यानी जिसको आप कहते हैं कि आप बॉटनी की तलाश कर सकते हैं, उसका आसान सा तर्जुमा। और उसमें उस जो 266 BC के समय में जो ग्रीक का थियोक्रेटस ने जो बॉटनी, तब हमें लगता है कि बॉटनी के फादर भी कहे जाते हैं, और उसने जो किताब लिखी थी उसका पहली बार हिंदुस्तान में फारसी में तर्जुमा किया, क्योंकि उसको फारसी यहाँ की जबान तर्जुमा किया। अब पहला लेखक इस किताब का तर्जुमा इसलिए कराया जाए कि यहाँ जो लोग आए हैं उसे हेल्दी फूड क्या क्या चीजें बताया जाए जो लोग नहीं जानते। और इसीलिए अभी आपने जब कहा कि आजमगढ़ और के इलाके में मुझे बहुत खुशी हुई कि वो सोर्स शायद किताब का सोर्स जिसने ये किया होगा कि पहली बार 1690 ईस्वी के बाद भी उस वक्त की हुकूमत ने जो सर्व यूपी और यूपी में कोदो जवार गाजर करते थे मैंडेटरी कर दिया। ये सबसे हेल्थ फूड है, उस किताब के हवाले से पढ़ा जा सकता है। इसलिए मुझे कभी कभी लगता है कि साहित्य पढ़ने से मुझे बहुत फायदा हो जाता है, क्योंकि वो किताब को 1824 ईस्वी में अंग्रेज ने उसका नाम दिल्ली पब्लिश कर दिया और उसमें गालिब की टीचर थे, उसका बहुत बड़ा साहित्यकार माता रामचंद्र बहुत बड़े उसमें ये हुए, उसने टीचर हुए। फिर उसने भारतीय किताबों का अंग्रेजी में तर्जुमा किया, जिसकी अरबी ग्रीक से अरबी में किया था, अरबी को फारसी में किया गया, फारसी से अंग्रेजी में किया गया और गालिब भी उसमें टीचर हुए उस कॉलेज में, दिल्ली कॉलेज में, और आज इसका नाम जाकिर हुसैन कॉलेज है। तो उस कॉलेज में पहली बार हिंदुस्तान में इस पर बहस हुई कि सेहतमंद ग़िज़ा क्या हो और तग़िया ग़िज़ा को कहा गया। माने कि जो हम कहते हैं फूड के वो जादुई आपके जो होंगे नुस्खे वो क्या है, और उस वक्त के हकीमों ने उसी किताब के हवाले से मरीजों के लिए नुस्खा लिखना शुरू किया और उस वक्त के नुस्खे आज भी मौजूद है आर्काइव में वहाँ। और उसमें नुस्खे में जो हकीम हुआ करते थे, वैद्य हुआ करते थे, वो कोदो जवार बाजरा का वो नाम लिखते थे कि खाइए तो आपको होगा बनवा पाएगा, इससे आज हम पढ़ाने चले। तो कहने का अर्थ यह है कि हमारे यहाँ भारत में तमाम चीजों जो विज्ञान है उसकी नींव बहुत पहले पड़ी, लेकिन विडंबना यह है कि हम उसकी तरफ से तवज्जो हमारी हटती चली गई। खास करके जहाँ इन विषयों पे ज्यादा शोध होना चाहिए हम उस विषय और शोध के नाम पे जिस तरह का आश्चर्यजनक चीजें आने लगी है वो हमारे लिए बहुत घातक सिद्ध हुई। मैं समझता हूँ कि एक कल की बात घटना है सोचता है कि हमारे माननीय कुलपति इस माने में यह है कि उनके सामने जो लोग वो विषय लेके जाते हैं उस विषय से जिज्ञासा करने लगते हैं। कल शाम में एक साहब सर के पास एक इतिहास का किताब लेके गए और लेने के बाद सर ने किताब उल्टा तो पूछा कि क्या है, इसमें मिथिलांचल के स्वतंत्रता के संग्राम का कुछ किताब थी कि क्या काव्य इतिहास के कुछ थे लिखा था। मैं भी वहां बैठा था, सर ने कहा इस किताब में ये फोटो क्यों लगा दिया आपने, लेखक के पास कोई जवाब नहीं। एक साथ वहां बैठे थे, उन्होंने उससे पूछ दिया सूर्य नारायण सिंह को आप जानते हैं कि उसका जिक्र होगा, उन्होंने कहा है। तो सूर्य नारायण सिंह जी का जब उन्होंने नाम लिया तो मेरी भी जिज्ञासा बनी कि मेरी खुशकिस्मती यह है कि शहीद सूर्य नारायण जी से मेरे परिवार का संबंध रहा, मुझे उनके गोद में मेरा सौभाग्य खेलने का मौका मिला, कांधों पे रखने झुकने का मौका मिला। तो मेरी जिज्ञासा बनी, मैं उनकी तो मुखातिब हुआ। मैंने पूछा उनके बारे में आपको क्या लिखा, उन्होंने बताया कहा कि उनकी मृत्यु जो है ललित बाबू के साथ आप बताइए उनका कोई संबंध नहीं है घटना से उनका, और वो किताब लिखी गई वो छपी गई। अब बताइए इस तरह से सोच का क्या मतलब होगा। इसलिए कुलपति जी फिर वहां बैठे थे, जो दूसरे साहब थे वो भी थे मेरी तरफ, मैंने कहा कि भाई इस किताब को कम मैं नहीं पढ़ूंगा, आपका शोध जो है वो बिल्कुल अधूरा है। एक ही बात से सवाल से प्रश्न से उठ गया। इसलिए अभी प्रोफेसर खाना साहब ने अपने लेक्चर में एक बड़ा दायित्व सौंपा आपको मैडम जमीन साहिबा के, अभी उन्होंने लास्ट में कहा कि मिथिला विश्वविद्यालय अगर इस तरह की कार्य करके उनका सहयोग होगा ये बड़ा दायित्व है। अगर आप उस दायित्व को स्वीकार करते हैं तो मैं समझता हूँ कि ये जो इंटरनेशनल सेमिनार किया है उसका सबसे बड़ा पैगाम जाएगा इस इलाके में कि मिथिला विश्वविद्यालय ने जो सेमिनार किया और ने जो पुरुष दिए हमने तो स्वीकार कर लिया है और अपने छात्र छात्राओं के माध्यम से मिथिला के निवासी मिथिला विश्वविद्यालय के क्षेत्रों में एक क्रांति लाएंगे। मुझे आपने यहाँ बुलाया, मुझे तो कुछ सचिव के तौर पर आपने बुलाया है, लेकिन मैंने बोल दिया, लेकिन मैं आपको बधाई देता हूँ कि आपने बहुत ही समसमायिक विषय पर इस तरह का सेमिनार किया है। और माननीय कुलपति जी जब से आए हैं तो इस तरह का हर विभाग को ये सेमिनार कर रहा है। अभी मैडम हमारी प्रोफेसर मैडम दौरा कर रही हैं, होने वाला है उसमें भी उन्हें बड़ी मायूसी लग रही है कि मैच हम कैसे कराएंगे, उनकी चिंता और बढ़ गई है। कल दौरा करके आई तो सामने वो चिंतित हो गई। मैं उन्हें यकीन दिलाता हूँ कि हमारे जो शिक्षक हैं, विभाग अध्यक्ष हैं, शिक्षक हैं, हम उस टारगेट को पूरा करेंगे और सोच के क्षेत्र में जो चीजें कमियां हैं उसको पूरा करेंगे, क्योंकि इस तरह के कार्यक्रमों का और इस तरह के सेमिनारों का जो शुरुआत हुई है वो आने वाले दिनों में हमारे लिए मसलेदार होगा। आपने मुझे यहाँ बुलाया, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now, may I take the honor to request our Honorable Vice Chancellor and Patron of the conference, Professor S.P. Singh, sir, who has been erudite scholar of economics, visionary and versatile personality.
में मंच पर उपस्थित दलित नारायण मिथिला विश्वविद्यालय की सुना, कुछ सचिव जिसे आपने सुना, विद्वान को स्वीकार करना, रस्ताना जिनका की लोग सुना, से आप सुनेंगे, आचार्य का पार्टिसिपेंट जो आज यहाँ आपके गुरुगीत से और विश्वविद्यालय के गुरुगीत से आपने इस कार्यक्रम को स्थापित किया। बिहार का इतिहास छोटा मोटा इतिहास नहीं रहा, बड़ा गौरवशाली रहा और तमाम तरह की शिक्षा देने का केंद्र बना, चाहे वो धार्मिक शिक्षा हो, जितने धर्मावलंबी हैं, जैन धर्म, बुद्ध धर्म, सभी धर्मों का यहाँ पर पालन पोषण हो रहा है। जो धरती बहुत पहले से विद्वानों की रही मिथिला तो ज्यादा गौरव प्राप्त है, ज्यादा सम्मान प्राप्त है। तमाम सारे दर्शन, तमाम सारे विचार, तमाम विचारधाराएं, चाहे सनातन की हो, चाहे सनातन से संबंधित या भारतीय दर्शन से संबंधित, तमाम तरह की विचारधाराएं यहाँ पर होने वाली, ये इसका गौरव रहा है। आज तो हम चर्चा कर रहे हैं प्रोस्पेक्ट, फ्यूचर प्रोस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं। प्रोस्पेक्ट हमेशा फ्यूचर जो दिक्कत रही यहाँ पर, जैसा बताया गया, ये अवसर मिलता है, ये सेमिनार, इस सेमिनार को अवसर को आप अपनी व्यस्तता में, अपनी मेरिट में कन्वर्ट कर ले जाए, बहुत बड़ी बात होती है, बहुत अच्छी बात। ये इतने तरह के विद्वानों का इकट्ठा होना, विषय पर 2 दिन तक लगातार चर्चा होना, ये कुछ आपको आईसाइट देता है, कुछ फोरसाइट देता है, कुछ आपको रिसेंट ट्रेंड क्या चल रहे हैं और क्या आगे होंगे। सामने तो सबको दिखता है, लेकिन जो चीजें आगे आने वाली हैं, हो रही हैं या आगे होंगी, उनके बारे में इतना जगाने का काम इंटेलेक्चुअल्स, क्योंकि ऐसी आंख उन्हीं के पास होती, ज्ञान शक्ति से बोलते हैं, उन्हीं के पास होता है जो आगे के बारे में क्या होगा, आज जो हम कर रहे हैं ये आगे कहाँ तक जाएगा, कब यात्रा तक जाएगा, क्या परिणाम देगा, ये उसमें शामिल है। जिसके पास ये ज्ञान होगा वही इस बात की कमेंट बिहार शिक्षा बोर्ड के चेयरमैन का था, भर्ती बोर्ड आपका रिक्रूटमेंट बोर्ड, विषय का नाम मैं नहीं ले रहा हूँ, उसमें 46 ऐसे आवेदन करता थे, सब डिजिटल फॉर्मेट पे होता, आप डाटा कलेक्ट करते, आपको मैन्युअली कलेक्ट नहीं करना होगा, जो थीसिस उनकी थी एक ही नाम की। आज की तारीख में बिहार में जो जमा हुआ नौकरी के लिए आवेदन, सारे विद्वान साथियों ने जमा किया, आगे वो विश्वविद्यालय के सभी पदों पर जाने की यात्रा करेंगे। इसमें 46 ऐसे एप्लीकेंट थे जिनकी पीएचडी का टॉपिक थे, थोड़ा भी ये जो रिसेंट ट्रेंड है, जो आगे कुछ बदलाव होना है, आगे बदले कहीं ना कहीं, और ये जो माहौल बनता है, ये से इस टॉपिक्स को देने के लिए दृष्टिकोण बनता है, इस चैतन्यता के साथ हम लोग पार्टिसिपेंट सेमिनार का कन्वर्जन अगर होगा, इसका आउटकम आप निकालें तो रिसर्च के टॉपिक के रूप में आएगा, पेपर राइटिंग के रूप में आएगा, एक नए विषय के रूप में आएगा, पुराने के साथ जोड़ करके भी पुराने से अलग करके भी जैसा आप बनाना चाहें वैसा आप बनाएं। उद्देश्य तो ये होता है, लेकिन अगर इस उद्देश्य को केवल 2 दिन बैठ करके इकट्ठा करके छुट्टी लेकर के काम करने का संभवतः किसी सेमिनार का जो बेसिक उद्देश्य है वो पूरा नहीं हो सकता। और जैसे अभी विषय है, मैंने बिहार के उस गौरवशाली इतिहास का जिक्र इसलिए किया कि जनतंत्र की धरती है और जनतंत्र में लोक कल्याण खाली होता है, लोक कल्याण सफल होता है, उसकी उपेक्षा नहीं की जा सकती है। ये जो विषय आज आया फूड सिक्योरिटी, आप जानते हैं संविधान भारत का जो भी है उस संविधान में तमाम तरह के अधिकार सरकार ने और राइट टू एजुकेशन से लगा के राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन से लगा के इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट लगा के उसका भी राइट। आज से 20 साल पहले 15 साल पहले जब कभी न्यूज पेपर देखते थे हम लोग तो तमाम सारी टेस्ट का ऐसा डाटा होता था जो खाना नहीं मिला इन सफिशिएंट होने के लिए था या नहीं मिला उससे। आज की तारीख में इस तरह का कोई न्यूज हमें सुनने को नहीं मिलता कि व्यक्ति की जैसी यानी फूड सिक्योरिटी का एक दावा भारत सरकार ने आज तक अब किसी को खाने की दिक्कत नहीं होगी संगठन के बाद निकल करके पहले जिम्मेदारी की स्रोत के बाद सरकार ने ये उसी जनतंत्र की देन है। जनतंत्र में लोक कल्याण माइनस होगा कुछ भी नहीं होगा और लोक कल्याण आएगा तो फूड आएगा, एजुकेशन आएगा, ये सारी चीजें। मैं गांव से ही पला बड़ा हूँ, बहुत बड़ी खेती होती थी घर पर। ये जो अनाज को अमृत अनाज के रूप में जाने जा रहे हैं, G20 ने जिसको अमृत अनाज के रूप में दिया और G20 का जो आदेश है वो वसुधैव कुटुंबकम का है और उसकी 3 फिलॉसफी है कि एक ही पूरा वर्ल्ड, एक परिवार है, एक संगठन है और एक ही फ्यूचर होगा, अलग फ्यूचर नहीं होगा। जो फ्यूचर हमारा है आपका भी, आपके पास भी जो आएंगे उनका भी होगा, हमारे पास भी। ये दिव्य चक्षु से देखने का है जिसमें इसको अमृत अनाज कहा गया। आपको हेल्दी फूड प्रोवाइड करेगा, आपको बीमारियों से लड़ने की ताकत देगा, इम्यूनिटी ताकत देगा। ये सारे फूड इसलिए पैदा किए जाते हैं ताकि जानकारी इसको खाने से ये रोग दूर होगा, ये बातें दूर, ऐसा कुछ नहीं। इसलिए पैदा किए जाते हैं, दूसरा हम पैदा नहीं करते क्योंकि सारे फूड जिनका नाम दिया है लो वाटर, जहाँ इरिगेशन कम करना विदाउट इरिगेशन, ये सारे अनाज वो अनाज हैं जो नॉन इरिगेटेड एरिया था वहाँ और पैदा होने के साथ साथ इनका जो प्रोडक्टिविटी रेट था वो बहुत कम पैदा था। इसीलिए आप याद करेंगे तो 60s के देश में अमेरिका से गेहूं आता था 380 के साथ फ्री में गेहूं आता था, जिसका आटा खा लिया जाए या छोड़ दिया जाए तो फिर भी खराब हो जाएगा और कौवे बैठते थे तो कौवे भी चिपक जाते थे, काम नहीं होता। वो अनाज वहाँ जानवरों को खिलाया जाता था, डंप करके समुद्र में डाल दिया जाता था। प्राइस अगर ज्यादा नीचे गई, कागज के बराबर नहीं आई तो सरकार खरीदती थी समुद्र में डाल देती। वो अनाज भारत को आता था और उस अनाज को हम खाते, इसलिए हम इतना पैदा नहीं कर पाते थे, तमाम तरीके से नहीं हमारी पैदा नहीं कर पाते। इसीलिए जो ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन का कॉन्सेप्ट लाया गया, प्रोडक्टिविटी रेंज हो कैसे भी रेंज हो, अब वो नतीजा उसका जो भी होगा आगे वो तो अलग की बात है, लेकिन 50 वर्षों में फूड के मामले में भारत सफिशिएंट है। इतना फूड स्टॉक भारत के पास है, अपने उपयोग करता है वो ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन की जरूरत है। इन अनाजों पर अब चर्चा हो रही है क्योंकि चर्चा के बेसिस बनते हैं। अब इसका जो ट्रेडिशनल वैल्यू आया, जो हमारी के साथ कॉन्सेप्ट आया, फिर इन अनाजों की चर्चा हो रही और इनकी महत्ता को सब आदमी करेंगे। उस समय के पुअर जो काम करते थे घरों में उनको खिलाया जाता था, यानी गेहूं भी उबाल करके खिलाया जाता था, गेहूं भी भून करके खिलाया जाता था, आटा नहीं बनता, उसको उबाल करके उसमें जो भी डालना करके उनको नाश्ते के रूप में दिया जाता और अकेला गेहूं सारे मोटे अनाज में मिला दिए जाते थे और बॉइल करके नमक लगा के। ये कॉन्सेप्ट तब नहीं था, गेहूं के बारे में भी है, इसको रोटी तोड़ करके आप नहीं जानते होंगे नाश्ते के रूप में आज से 50 साल पहले ऐसे जाने की बात, कहने की बात किया। ये जो अमृत अनाज खिलाते हैं आज उसको फूड के साथ मिला। पहले किचन में जो भी स्पाइस होते थे वो बीमारी के हिसाब से हम नहीं रखते थे, लेकिन रखते चले आ गए थे। आज उस पर रिसर्च हो रही है, बीमारी को दूर करने वाली इस बीमारी को दूर करेगा। बहुत बड़ी सिक्योरिटी है, उसकी सिक्योरिटी बहुत बड़ी सिक्योरिटी है, उसकी सिक्योरिटी बहुत बड़ी सिक्योरिटी है। और ये भी पहले कहा जाता था कि जो प्रिवेंशन इज बेटर देन क्योर। आप पहले से ऐसा कुछ कीजिए कि दवा ना खाना चाहिए, दवा नहीं खाना चाहिए। मैं बहुत सारी कथाएं करती हूँ। आज आपने कंसोलिडेट किया उस चीज़ को, आपने क्या किया, पूरे विश्व ने किया कंसोलिडेट। उस कंसोलिडेटेड सब्जेक्ट से आज आप सेमिनार कर रहे हैं, जाहिर सी बात है कि बहुत सारी चीजें निकल सकती हैं। आप अपने इसको लेने की कोशिश कीजिए कि आउटकम उस आउटकम पर रिसर्च करने का बाद हमने आपका पैटर्न बदला कि आज 2 पेपर पढ़ाएंगे, इनमें एक का रिसर्च का थ्योरेटिकल कॉन्सेप्ट होगा और एक में रिसर्च का अप्लाइड कॉन्सेप्ट पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट, उसमें इस तरह के शब्दों को लेकर के सब्जेक्ट आप उस पर सिनॉप्सिस बनाइए, आप उस पर सेमिनार कीजिए, छोटे छोटे विषयों पर आपका रिसर्च का एक टॉपिक क्रिएट हो जाएगा, बच्चे का पास होने का भी हिसाब बन जाएगा। ये कुछ चीजें ये है कि जो आपको प्रैक्टिकली ऑब्जर्व करना पड़ेगा, ये कहीं से इनफैक्ट आइडिया नहीं है। आइडिया तो ऐसे ही आता है कि जैसे आप लिखते हुए कविता में लिखते हो, डायरी खोलते नहीं, वो चलते रहते हो और कोई भी कागज मिला उसी कागज पर लिखो। ये जो आइडिया है, ये कंसेप्ट में ये थोड़ी देर के लिए आता है और फिर भाग जाता है। आप पकड़ पाएंगे तो पकड़ लीजिए, उसी समय रोक लीजिए, उसे नहीं रोकेंगे तो कॉन्सेप्ट की आइडिया जो आपके दिमाग में आए तो भाग जाएगा, निकल बिल्कुल जिस तरीके से आप कैप्चर करते हैं कैमरे में मोमेंट आपने कैच कर लिया, उस मोमेंट को जैसे आइडिया के कैच को आपने कैप्चर किया, उसके बाद का काम आपने जाहिर सी बात है दूसरी चीजें उसके साथ बंद हो गई। मैं समझता हूँ कि 2 दिन का सेमिनार ऐसी इंसाइट देगा, केवल बॉटनी के स्किल को नहीं देगा, जो सोशल साइंसेज हैं उनमें भी इसका एप्लीकेशन होगा, जो साइंस के दूसरे सब्जेक्ट हैं उसमें भी इसका एप्लीकेशन होगा। तो ये जो इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी रिसर्च पढ़ाई को मिथिला विश्वविद्यालय इस समय मैं समझता हूँ बिहार के सबसे अच्छा और रेगुलेटेड विश्वविद्यालय बना हुआ है, क्योंकि एक साथ सारे काम करने की आदत यहाँ लोगों में पड़ गई। जब मैं आया था मुझे ये बताया गया कि इम्तहान खत्म होता तो दूसरा सब्जेक्ट खत्म होने के बाद इसके शुरू होने में कुछ विश्राम का पीरियड भी होता है, विश्राम हो जाए तमाम सारे एग्जाम और एकदम सही नहीं करते हैं। आपका एग्जाम भी चल रहा है, घोषित में चल रहा है और आपका एडमिशन भी हो रहा है, आपका रिसर्च का भी काम हो रहा है, सेमिनार भी हो रहा है, आपकी तमाम सारी चीजें एक साथ एक परंपरा पुरानी विदाई का काम कर रहे हैं, तैयार कर रहे हैं, एक साथ तमाम सारे काम। और ये जब आदत बन गई है एक साथ इतने सारे कामों को काम करने और अच्छी क्वालिटी के साथ एफर्ट के साथ काम करने, यही विश्वविद्यालय को अच्छा है। पुरानी गौरव गाथा किसी मतलब की नहीं है, तो जब हम कमजोर पड़ते हैं पुरानी गौरव गाथा को लाते हैं और हनुमान जी की तरह से याद दिलाने के लिए आती है, आप कहिए आप पूर्वज का इतिहास तो 2 कदम और आगे आपका इतिहास इतना मत किस तरह का काम समझ में जो मिथिला विश्वविद्यालय इस समय कर रहा है, आपका विभाग जो कर रहा है विश्वविद्यालय के बारे में काम कर रहा है। और बड़ी बात ये कि नए तैयारी के साथ साथ कर रहे हैं, उसको जून जुलाई के बीच में नए प्लान कर रहे हैं। कोशिश हमारी पूरी यही है कि हम एक प्लस हो जाए, तो जबकि ऐसे साधन हमारे पास में क्रिएट किया है इतने वर्षों में, 5 वर्ष का काम 3 वर्षों में कर क्रिएट करके उस टाइम तक हम काम करते हैं। मैं समझता हूँ पहली बार इतिहास में भी इसको ये हासिल मिलेगा, इससे ज्यादा की तैयारी करती है, लेकिन ये इसको पहली बार मिलेगा अपने 50 वर्षों के इतिहास में, कभी से इसको नहीं मिला थी। और ये तब मिला जब क्वालिटेटिव एनालिसिस नहीं थी, क्वांटिटेटिव एनालिसिस नहीं थी, पीयर टीम आती थी और पीयर टीम नए अच्छी दोनों बढ़ गया है, उसकी क्वांटिटेटिव एनालिसिस की है, क्वालिटेटिव एनालिसिस की है, पीयर रिव्यू विजिट की है, तमाम तरह की चीजों में वो नए बन गया। पहले जो होता था उस तरह का नए नहीं है, अगर उस तरह का नए आज होता है तो हम शायद सी में जाते सी से ऊपर न आया तो आप खाना कल्चर में ला करके मिथिला के गाना सुनाया, मिथिला के कल्चर में ला करके आप उसको उतना को एडवाइस करके ले ही लेते थे कि भी दे दो भाई, भी न देना, भी बढ़ जाता है। एक्चुअली जिस लेवल पर काम करना है वो तो दूसरी है, ये सीखने की बात है, समझने की बात है, कहाँ से हम बात को शुरू करते हैं और कहाँ इसका अल्टीमेट क्या होता है। हम सभी इंटेलेक्चुअल है, 2 मिनट भी हमारा बर्बाद नहीं होना चाहिए। कभी हमें क्या करना है, करना 2 वर्ष बाद हमारा एक डिपार्टमेंट कहाँ होगा, 3 वर्ष बाद कहाँ होगा, 5 वर्ष बाद कहाँ होगा। ऐसे ही ना हो कि चेयरमैन बोल रहा है कि 40 PhD का एक लीडर, दूसरा भी बोले 70 PhD का एक था, तो भी खत्म किया है। 9,000 से ऊपर की किसी एग्जाम के लिए रेडी करती है, लगभग 6,000 के आसपास लोड करती है। दोबारा देखिए उसी में क्वेश्चन आएगा, तो लोड कर दिया, उसी में तमाम कर जो आप करना चाहते हैं वो चैतन्यता के साथ करें, अपने ज्ञान शक्ति के साथ करें। आने वाले दिनों में बहुत बड़ी बात कह रहे सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल, वो इसी क्रम का गोल बना हुआ है कि 2020 तक आप इतने लक्ष्य बनाइए कि लक्ष्य पूरा करें। लेकिन करने से नहीं होना, उसको करने की स्कीम ऑफ एक्शन क्या है वो ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट। और स्कीम ऑफ एक्शन जब आप कभी प्रिपेयर करेंगे तभी आपको उसकी शॉर्टकमिंग नजर आएगी कि स्टेज 2 पर जो स्कीम ऑफ एक्शन है ये कैसे लागू होगा, कैसे रहेगा, क्या इन सारी चीजों को आपको देखना पड़ेगा। और ये सेमिनार की चर्चा, दूर से अफसाना साहब आएगी, ये तभी आपके लिए अच्छा उपयोग होगा जब आप न तो आज का काम ही बात करते और एक चर्चा करके समाप्त हो जाएगा। एक और है टूल जो नेट के लिए है, ये जो सेमिनार आज निकालते हैं इससे आज ना निकालिए, इसका पैसा मत बर्बाद कीजिए, इस पैसे को बचाइए और सेमिनार के बाद का आउटकम बेसिस करके निकालिए। तो भले ही 5-8 आए वो आपके अचीवमेंट का पैसा दिखाते हैं, क्योंकि आपने पता है कि न लड़के के हित में है, न आपके हित में, न डिपार्टमेंट के हित में, कुछ नहीं। तो आप सेमिनार के बाद अगर करते एक निकालते जो आप क्रिएट करते हैं तो आपके लिए आउटकम होता सेमिनार का आउटकम। ये सारी चीजें अब आउटकम बेस्ड, फैकल्टी का कोर्स आउटकम बेस्ड, टीचर के टीचिंग आउटकम बेस्ड, रिसर्च आउटकम बेस्ड। तो क्या निरर्थक काम मत कीजिए, मतलब ये जो तक हमने अच्छा कहा कि अगर हम निरर्थक काम करेंगे 3 साल का लेबर इसी तरह से लगा और एक कोई काम ऐसा नहीं तो बात आ गया। पुराने टीचर तो प्रोफेसर तक हो गए, लेकिन नए टीचर्स के जो टीचर हैं प्रोफेसर होने के लिए कहानी तब वो प्रोफेसर पहले तो जो कर दिया बिहार ने करा दिया, 95 के रेगुलेशन को करा दिया और सैलरी स्केल 17-16 का रेगुलेशन 17-18 का वो ले लिया और क्वालिफिकेशन और प्रमोशन 94 के ऊपर ले लिया। 30 साल पुरानी शिक्षा को ध्यान में रखा, शिक्षा 30 साल पुरानी कर जो आज उसकी जगह पर है उसमें 30 साल बाकी इसको बराबर आना होगा। बल्कि जो गौरवशाली इतिहास आप कराए आपको 50 साल आगे चलना पड़ेगा, यानी आप उतनी दूरी पर खड़े रहें कि बाकी आपको पीछा करें तो 50 साल बाद वहां तक पहुंचे, तब तक आपकी गति होगी। को जिन्होंने इसको ऑर्गेनाइज किया और आप सभी के आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ कि आपने मौका दिया।
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now I request Chief Guest of the conference and former VC of Veer Kunwar Singh University, Professor M.K. Saha, sir, for their words.
Now I invite co-chief patron of the conference and present pro-vice chancellor of Lalit Narayan Mitra University, Professor Dolly Sinha ma'am, for her address. Namaskar. Very good
morning to all. We have with us on the dais the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor S.K. Singh, Professor M.K. Shah, Honorable former Vice Chancellor, B. Kumar Singh University, Ara, respected Professor R.K. Asthana, Head University Department of Botany, Banaras Hindu University, and who also delivered the keynote address, Professor Prem Mohan Mishra, Dean, Faculty of Science, Ellen Mittal University, Professor Sarnaz Jamil, Head University Department of Botany, Professor Mustaq Ahmad, the Registrar of the University, and Dr. Ankit Kumar Singh, the organizing secretary of this two-day international conference. My humble greetings to all of you. In the absent audience too, a number of distinguished personalities are there. Deans of faculties, respected deans of faculties, respected heads of the departments, faculty members from various departments and colleges of the university, resource persons, delegates, participants, representatives of various media houses, both from print and electronic media, support staff members, students of the university, and those who joined us through online mode from various corners of the world. I, on behalf of the university, welcome you all once again, and I also welcome you on my personal note and extend my greetings to each one of you. I congratulate Professor Sana Jamil, head and the convener of this conference, and all our team members who have contributed in conducting this international conference on recent trends and future prospects in food and health security. It is needless to mention that the theme of the conference is very relevant in today's context. The human population on this planet is ever increasing and is expected to be around 8.1 billion as per the recent human reports. Globally, our society faces an enormous challenge to feed, house, and provide a healthy life to this vast population. It is also a matter of utmost concern that in achieving these targets, we do not overconsume the natural resources and also preserve the environment for the benefit of future generations. Health of humans, animals, and the environment are inextricably linked and known as One Health concept. So we need to work on a One Health approach and integrated multidisciplinary strategy towards sustainable food production, environmental stewardship, and health security, therefore, is the key of the hour. The target may be achieved through creating an increased awareness among academics, youths, producers, consumers, and government agencies. Genetics, nanoscience, and AI, artificial intelligence assisted agriculture practices and management will play important role in future. And along with this, the indigenous knowledge system, we have to integrate the indigenous traditional knowledge system with these modern techniques. I believe courses and research in these areas of modern knowledge and revival of the traditional knowledge, therefore, must be included in the university programs. Further, People from diverse disciplines need to improve networking, exchange ideas, and work in collaboration. In this context, I welcome the proposal offered by our keynote speaker today, Professor Asthana, that the Banaras University Department of Botany can collaborate with our university to explore various possibilities and can work towards capacity building. Thank you, Professor Asthana, on behalf of the university and on my personal note also. I am very grateful for this proposal, and I think that would be the most important outcome of this conference, two-day conference. I am confident that the proposed international conference on recent trends and future prospects in food and health security will provide an appropriate platform to all concerned for the same. There will be fruitful addresses on diverse scientific, technological, and social aspects too, as my previous speaker, Honorable Vice Chancellor, has also mentioned, related to the theme of the conference. I expect that the conference would certainly help in achieving the target to a great extent and benefit academicians, scientists, young researchers, students, and general audience across the globe. Now, we all talk about food security, and it is very much there in our Indian culture. We always talk about Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Nirama. Let all be happy, let all be healthy. So we must go back to our traditional knowledge also. We have to explore that. Yet, I also mentioned with my young students, or I would like to share that that environment, the degradation of the environment is a very glaring problem in today's world. And when we talk about food security, the other side of the story is that because human beings have food security, that is what plays a culprit in degrading the nature. Other animals do not have food security and they do not degrade our planet Earth. It is us, the human being, who degrade the environment. So it is very important that this conference will also give insight and contribute towards preserving the health of the planet Earth, and that way it will enrich the human civilization. I extend my best wishes for the success of this conference, and I am very grateful for giving me this opportunity to share my ideas with the learned audience. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. Now I request Chief Guest of the conference and former VC of Witwatersrand University, Professor M.K. Thakkar, for the address.
This magnificent degree और मैं स्वास्थ्य अपने श्रद्धेय गुरुजनों का सादर नमन करते हुए मैं यहाँ उपस्थित सभी लोगों को नमस्कार करता हूँ। मंचासी Honorable Vice Chancellor, although he is not present, but they are actually guests. Professor S.P. Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Isma, Eternal energy and inspiration. I heard she is behind organization of this magnificent conference. Sitting on the dais, our keynote speaker, Professor R.P.S. Khanna from BHU. Professor Zain Mohan Misra Sahab, the organizing secretary and the convener of the conference, Professor Shahana Jameel, Professor Mustaq Ahmad Registrar, he is also physically present, but he assisted the entire diligent team of LMU PG Botany Department for organizing this wonderful conference. And Dr. Ankit Kumar Singh, your organizing secretary member, all my friends, particularly Professor Vidyanatha Jha, who is one of the national and international figures in Makhana research. Many of my friends, my colleagues, students, and researchers. It's a great privilege for me to be on this dais amongst the wonderful luminaries of academic arena. This topic, as you have heard, is very important. We got freedom in 1947. And I remember I was born in 1954. I remember for 2 kilos of wheat, there used to be a big line. And they used to wait for full day to get 2 kilograms of American wheat. That was horrible. Once the then Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, visited under the scheme PL 480 to get the next bout of wheat from US, and she was asked to sign certain documents. She said she will sign after going through the document properly. She took the documents, went to her hotel room, studied the document well, and then told the then American president, I do not need your wheat, sir. Keep it with yourself. The document had such terms and conditions which was very derogatory. The Honorable Prime Minister did not agree. He came back with a reason. And the then ICR director, Professor M.S. Swaminathan, was picked up by her, and she gave him all that was required to get food sufficiency in the country. And how to pay thanks and gratitude to that great man, Professor Swaminathan, I don't know. Fortunately, I happen to be the third academic liaison of Professor Swaminathan. His student was Professor P.C. Keswan, and I happen to be his student. Professor Swaminathan is still alive, past 90. Still he keeps thinking about how to bring the country better in all respects, particularly in food security. The country must acknowledge that great man's gratitude. In 2015, I had an opportunity to organize international conference at Bhagalpur and invited him. He accepted the invitation, but he said physically he is not able to board the plane, so he had come, but he sent his message and all that kind of thing. What I want to say is that the struggle for food sufficiency in India began in late 1960s, and it took peak momentum in 1970s. Under the great patronage of Madam Indira Gandhi and under the vibrant leadership of Professor Swaminathan, in India, the first green revolution was achieved by the end of 1980 and 1980s. We were self-sufficient not only in food. We had so much of food production that we started exporting also. On an average, India produces about 230 million metric tons of grains today, and that is sufficient as of now. So that was classic green revolution, where new varieties of wheat, rice, and other food items were raised through classical hybridization techniques. The geneticists know how difficult it was in those days to raise a plant by hybridization. But still, scientists struggled, worked hard, and got many new varieties. Those new varieties, coupled with the use of good seeds, manures, chemical fertilizers, insecticides and pesticides, India achieved the best through green revolution. We are still producing about 235. I think this is the data before 10 years ago. Now with the advent of the latest tools and technology of biotechnology, where the cutting edge techniques like RDT, molecular biology, gene cloning, our country has now achieved the target of 300 million tons as of the record last year. So we have sufficient food, no doubt about it. We have still a long way to go. We are now 140 crores. This population will be going up, it will never go down. How to keep this pace with the population rise, the scientists have to work hard and think over new ways to achieve the target. Globally, we are about 7.25 to 7.5 billion people on this planet today. By 2025, it is expected to be around 8.1 billion. And by 2050, ma'am, the world population is going to cross about 9.5 billion. The whole world is now able to produce only 2 billion metric tons of food grains, whereas we require even still 3 billion at least. How are we going to achieve this additional 1 billion metric ton food grains? Is a big challenge for the scientists. We have to think about it. So this seminar is of great significance because we are making our plans for our better tomorrow. How our children will live, what they will eat, and what kind of health they will achieve. We are trying to plan now. I'm pretty sure if the conclusions of this International Congress are sent to the Planning Commission, they will definitely ponder over it and take the notes from it and try for the next 5-year plans how to make better production in all aspects of food. For example, not only grains, we need enough of fruits, enough of pulses, and also enough of healthcare requirements. I have been given a task to say a few words in my lecture tomorrow. There I will discuss in some detail about my thoughts, about my reasons, how we can achieve this success in a short span of time using latest tools and techniques of biotechnology. While listening to Professor Asthana, a few things were coming in my mind. How we can achieve and train our young generation to meet the challenges ahead. I remember in 1995 when I joined National Institute of Immunology as a biotech national associate. I knew very well about molecular biology. I knew very well theoretically about DNA and many great things that I was taught about my great guru sitting over here. But let me tell you very frankly, in 1995 when I reached NII, I just had a hallowed knowledge of DNA fragmentation, how to cut it, slice it, join it together, but I didn't have a practical knowledge. At the time, I was reader, associate professor in my university. And joining there to learn practically what RBP, molecular biology is, I think it was a difficult time for me. There was a young graduate, B.N. Pathak. He was assigned the job of making me learn the basic techniques of cell culture, how to culture microbes, how to extract DNA, how to make gels, run DNA, treat them, and then from those gels, how to take out DNA molecules, cut them in a position so that we are able to insert new desired DNA molecules inside it. That was a big task. There were a dozen of great scholars in that laboratory. I was assigned that young graduate. And let me tell you very frankly, some of us might feel very shaky when learning from such youngsters. But I did learn it. And after learning it, I tell you, I became a real molecular biologist after doing experiments with my own hands. My boss told me in that laboratory that he was not aware of what apoptosis is. At the time, apoptosis was a new concept, and in India, few people know about it. He told me frankly, he will not be able to any use in getting me knowledge about apoptosis. So I had to do everything for myself. Why I told you this story is to encourage my young scientists, young scholars, even young professors. We have ample time to learn new things in life. We remain young as and when we learn new things. If we lose our interest of learning new things, that which we are chasing now. So to overcome, it is good that we keep learning something. Doesn't matter who makes it learn. Sometimes it may be a youngster, a young man. I remember in many classes, many of my students used to ask me some very wide questions, but I never discouraged them. I used to encourage them. Keep asking. Because a question comes from students only when they understand your topic, your subject. And many times I have read the history of research. Many times the young students' concept have opened the new vistas of research in this world. If you know about the hybridoma technique, it was done by a young undergraduate student. So we have to keep learning. And I request and urge my young colleagues to keep learning something. Another important point that I want to tell you here is that in our days, Sigma company used to be the hallmark, but now India has so many Sigma companies. We do not have to cough up a lot of money to buy those chemicals at a high price. At low prices also, we can get the same quality things from Indian markets. So to do good research, quality research in RDT or molecular biology, it's not a big thing in India also. Often people complain that we are short of money. I think if we manage well, managing small things for youngsters to make them learn in the laboratory about the concepts of RDT should not be a big challenge. We need to have a big heart and courage. The rest I will talk before you perhaps might tell me tomorrow. We will discuss about why evergreen revolution is now necessary in India. It has already begun. We have switched over from green revolution to evergreen revolution. What is evergreen revolution? You know, during the green revolution, we achieved self-sufficiency in food grain production, no doubt. But with this, the Earth planet has got some bad things also. So much of insecticides, pesticides have been used that is now making our soil infertile. It is adding to our health problems, these insecticides and pesticides through food cycle. It comes in some way or other in our food cycle, it comes to our body also. We have generated many kinds of new diseases. So how to overcome that? In order to overcome this, Professor Swaminathan has come out with a new concept of evergreen revolution. We will discuss that in detail tomorrow. And fortunately for Mithila people, for all those ravaged by recurrent floods, he has come out with the concept of flood gold. How our farmers can be self-sufficient in money, how they can sustain their life even in flood-ravaged areas. He has come out with a formula. We will discuss that also in tomorrow's session. With this, I have got a note that I have to be short. Thank you all very much for being present here. And my sincere hearty thanks to the organizers, particularly Professor Sana Jamil, for taking so much of pains to organize this wonderful conference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now we have reached at the fag end of inaugural session of the conference. Finally, I invite one of the organizing secretary and assistant professor of the University Department of Botany, Dr. Ankit Kumar sir, to propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you for inviting me for vote of thanks. Honorable Vice Chancellor and respected distinguished dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, the speaker from different institutions of India and abroad, present in both online and offline modes, faculty deans, heads, faculty members of university teaching departments, officers and other members of university staff, principal and teachers from different colleges, members from print and electronic media, research scholars, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to all of you. It is my proud privilege to propose a vote of thanks to this August gathering for inaugural session of 2 days international conference entitled Recent Trends and Future Prospects in Food and Health Security on behalf of Organizing Committee, University Department of Botany, Alhamdulillah, University Darbhanga. First of all, I place on record my deep sense of gratitude and indebtedness to our visionary Vice Chancellor and Chief Patron of today's function, Professor Surendra Pratap Singh sir, for gracing the occasion and being the backbone in motivating the academic and research activities in the university. Under his stewardship, our university is growing by leaps and bounds. Thank you so much, sir. I am grateful to Professor N.K. Saha sir, former Vice Chancellor, Veer Kuwar University, Ara, who is our chief guest on this auspicious occasion. We are especially thankful to him for suggesting the topic theme of conference, which is of much contemporary significance. We are very much proud of him as he is distinguished alumnus of Alhamdulillah University. Thank you so much, sir. I express our special gratitude towards Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor Professor Dolly Sinha, co-chief patron of today's function, for her constant inspiration and encouragement in making this conference successful. Thank you so much, ma'am. I extend my special gratitude to Honorable Ishaq Mustaq Ahmad sir, patron of this conference, for his strategic, administrative, and moral support wherever required. We are highly thankful to respected sir. I am very much obliged to have Professor R.K. Asthana sir, Head Department of Botany, Institute of Science, Banaras University, among us, who has been kind enough to accept our invitation to deliver keynote address on this occasion. As we know that Darbhanga and BHU have very close relation with each other, as it was Darbhanga Maharaj who donated restlessly for establishment of BHU. Professor Asthana sir has supported us to use lab facility and sophisticated instrumentation in BHU. Thank you so much, sir, for your support. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dean Faculty of Science, Professor Pinu Mohan Misra sir, for enormous support and guidance. Thank you so much, sir. I express most sincere thanks to Professor Sahnaz Jalil ma'am, Head Department of Botany, Alhamdulillah University, for her tireless effort to make this event a grand success. Thank you so much, ma'am. I may also to express our sincere thanks to media persons to make this inaugural event memorable. Once again, I thank you to all of you from core of my heart to make this inaugural session a grand success. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for proposing a vote of thanks. Now I request students of University Department of Botany, Mohan, Vikas, Satyam, Jaya, Archana and Akansha to come over for the national anthem, and also request everyone present here to stand up from their respective positions for the national anthem. Finally, I request Chief Guest N.K. Sasar to kindly